Oftentimes when looking for a good laptop, I give the advice to buy used or refurbished models. These often provide similar performance to a brand new laptop for a much lower price. I've done several videos talking about various laptops, usually ThinkPads, that I consider to be a good value. I never include new laptops in these videos because why should you pay over $1,000 for something when in a couple of years it'll only be a few $100s? Many people have asked how I get so many ThinkPads, wondering if I have a lot of money, some insider connection that provides me with laptops, or a magic portal that I get them from. The truth is, while some people in the community have given me ThinkPads for a lower price or for free, most of the laptops featured in my videos are laptops I purchased on my own. But this isn't a sustainable business model to have. Some of these laptops are still very expensive. How do I get even fairly new laptops for such a low price? The answer: buy a broken or untested machine. This may not be the answer you were all looking for, but the idea isn't as insane as you would think. For those of you who aren't comfortable with working on electronics, this may not be the best way to get yourself a laptop. If you want the assurance that what you buy is going to work, you're best off buying something that's been refurbished or comes with a warranty. That being said, if you have even the most basic understanding of how laptops work, or you know how to take something apart and put it back together, you can find some very well-spec'd laptops for far less than what a used or refurbished model would sell for. It is indeed a risk. You might be able to fix it or use parts from it to get something else working, or you may end up wasting your time and money in the process. Oftentimes, laptops being sold as is for parts aren't subject to return policies, unless the item is never delivered or if it doesn't arrive as described. But I would venture to say that about 70 to 80% of the broken laptops I see listed for sale only need the most basic of repairs. This could save you a lot of money if you're willing to acknowledge the risks. In my last video, I showed off a ThinkPad T470S I had purchased off Mercari for only $150 plus shipping. I saw this listing and knew I couldn't pass it up, because it would be a very cheap and easy repair to make. A design issue that seems to plague some of these laptops is that the standoffs that hold the hinges and the screws for them in place on the rear of the display assembly can snap off if the laptop is dropped. The hinge itself isn't broken, but the plastic that the screws go into is. The laptop also had a missing keycap, but the switch underneath is intact, so that's easy to replace. When the laptop arrived, it was definitely a bit on the filthy side, so I made sure to give it a good cleaning. I also noticed the power adapter had been damaged, so this would have to go. You can see it sparking. That's not good. Because of this damage, I had to spend an extra $12 on a replacement power adapter, and I also had to spend a few bucks on a replacement keycap. Everything else, however, was present and working, including the display, both internal batteries, the RAM, and the solid-state drive. Some of these parts are often missing from broken laptops, but they're usually easy enough to replace. If I wanted to do a more proper repair, I would most likely either replace the rear panel of the assembly, or just replace the entire display assembly. However, there are some issues. First of all, if you're trying to keep your costs down, a replacement display assembly costs a lot of money. Besides, every display assembly I could find for this model on eBay actually has the exact same issue, with the plastic that secures the hinges in place being broken. The other issue is just the waste of it. Other than this little bit of damaged plastic, this display assembly is perfectly fine. If I replace the display assembly, unless I salvaged all of the old components to use in other repairs or sell off, that would be a lot of perfectly good electronics going to waste. The next possibility would be to just replace the rear panel. This is certainly more affordable than replacing everything and would lead to less waste. But there are some issues here. We would have to transfer all of the old components into the new housing. And right now, the only replacements I can find are shipped directly from China. If you live in Asia, that's probably not a big issue. But living in North America means that I could wait weeks or even months for one part to arrive. So instead of replacing any components, I'm going to do my best to repair the existing display assembly. First, I'm going to remove the bottom cover and disconnect both internal batteries. When you're doing any work involving the display, it's a good precaution to take, as if the connection comes loose while power is going to the laptop, you can blow the backlight fuse. I don't really need to do much disassembly to get to where we need to work on. Many newer ThinkPads have a front display bezel that is held on by adhesive and can be easily peeled up. Here we can see the two screws that are still secured into the posts that should be on the back of the laptop. Since the plastic is still present, we can fit it back into place on the display assembly. After removing the hinge from this plastic and testing to make sure it still fits correctly, it's time to get our good old friend superglue. So after putting on some disposable gloves, I've applied a little super glue to where the screw posts go. And then I set the broken plastic into place. Once it's in the correct place, I hold it there until the glue has cured and hardened. After giving it some more time to completely dry, I lined up the hinge into place, tightened the screws, and put everything back together. Now this laptop that would have otherwise been trashed works perfectly. In my opinion, something like this is not a permanent solution. The display is holding up well, but I don't think the glue is a permanent solution compared to the original plastic. When a replacement back panel or display assembly becomes available for a good price, I'll most likely purchase one to make this a more proper repair. But something like this can be a good way to breathe at least a little more new life into a device that may have otherwise been tossed into the trash. While this may have been a more daunting repair, especially for a newcomer, I assure you that of the laptops I've worked on, this was one of the more difficult repairs. Many 4-parts or not working laptops you find on eBay need far less work to be up and running again. Take this T450 for example. I purchased this as a bundle with an HP ProBook, with both needing minimal work to be ready for use again. Combined, both laptops cost me $80. The ProBook needed a new display housing, while the T450 only needed a new keyboard. Typically, ThinkPad keyboards from this era cost around $40, with backlit keyboards costing a little more. However, at the time, I was able to find a backlit keyboard brand new for only $26.50. Add in the cost of a new SSD and power adapter, and for right around $100, half of what this machine is worth, I had myself a fully working machine. Back when I first started getting into ThinkPads, I found a T430 listed on my local Craigslist. It was being sold for just $50, and this was at a time that T430s still sold for a good amount of money. The guy said it didn't read discs correctly. This was a little bit of a gamble. At best, I would need a new drive of some sort, and at worst, it could be a motherboard failure of some kind. Either way, for only $50, I figured it was worth the risk. After picking it up and bringing it home, I discovered the only thing it needed was a replacement DVD drive, and it was good to go. Another common issue that lands older laptops on the 4-parts section of eBay is BIOS passwords. This is a valid security measure often used by companies to protect important data in the event that the laptop is stolen, and I don't condone removing a password for malicious purposes. However, more times than not, when a computer is retired by whatever entity was using it, they either forget or don't bother to remove the password, which can make a perfectly good machine useless. Oftentimes, they remove and/or destroy the hard drive anyway before disposing of the laptop, so the protection provided by a BIOS password at that point is moot. Thankfully, on many older laptops, including ThinkPads, it's incredibly easy to remove the password. Resetting the CMOS or shorting a few pins on the motherboard can allow the password to be reset and the laptop to be used as normal. This allowed me to get my hands on 2 ThinkPad T410s and a first-generation X1 Carbon for far less than if they were working normally. Like I said, however, buying broken laptops can be a bit of a gamble. Sometimes you find a laptop that actually does have major issues, or it has sustained a lot of damage so that even if the motherboard itself is perfectly working, almost everything else will need to be replaced. For example, I purchased this T440 a while ago for only $20, which is an incredible deal. The display, touchpad, both batteries, the bottom cover, RAM, and storage were all missing or broken. When all was said and done and I replaced all of the missing components, I had a nicely spec'd and fully restored T440, but I ended up paying more on the parts than if I had just purchased a working T440. In hindsight, this may have been better to use as a parts machine. There may be some cases, particularly with rare or vintage computers, where there's no other option when it comes to repairing a unit or getting parts for it. But modern everyday laptops like this, you really need to determine if repairing it is worth your time and money. If you repair a lot of laptops like me, even a machine that ends up being a dud can still be salvaged for spare parts, saving the time and money of purchasing said parts for a future repair. If you don't repair laptops, you can often sell off the parts from the machine to recoup your losses. There's a lot more to looking around for good deals than buying broken laptops, but to me this is one of the most consistent methods of getting them for lower prices. Having said that, here's a few other suggestions if you want to save money on used computers. Set search results to show the lowest priced listings first. Don't lock yourself to one platform. I typically use eBay when shopping for old laptops, but I've also found luck on places like Mercari, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, Shop Goodwill, education or government auctions, and even Reddit. Keep your eyes peeled and don't be afraid to bargain with the seller over the price. Auctions don't guarantee a purchase, but they're also a good way to buy something for less than what the normal retail price would be. If the seller is local, consider meeting them in a safe and secure manner since this allows you to eliminate the shipping costs. A small road trip can be worth it if it means saving a lot of money. Depending on where you live and if you have any connections, you may also be able to pick up a laptop from a recycling center, and I have acquired a few computers this way. However, many of these places have data security agreements that prohibit them from being able to sell or give away such devices. Everyone has their own methods to help them get the best deal. And if you know some good ways to save money on laptops or other electronics that I didn't bring up in this video, feel free to share them. I wanted to share some methods that work for me, especially when so many people have asked me where I get all of my laptops from. Repairing is a great way to save money. It keeps e-waste out of our environment, and it gives a laptop that may otherwise be thrown out a new lease on life. It's also a great way to familiarize yourself with the computer's internals, should you ever need to make a repair or upgrade in the future. And for me, working on all of these laptops helped me become a lot more confident in my ability to fix them. Like I said, if you aren't comfortable with doing this kind of work yourself, it may be best to purchase a device that is guaranteed to work. But if this video helps inspire some of you to try repairing something on your own, that's a huge win in my book. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.